Hello, I'm Morris Dimba and welcome to this tutorial. Today we are going to proceed to part 3 of power transmission or telecommunication tower structure modeling, and we'll get started right away. I'll go straight to view and I'll come to navigate and I will rotate this with mouse. You can also use another way by pressing Control button on your keyboard while holding your middle button on the mouse, whichever way works best. I'll come back to navigate here. I'll pick on that. Then after doing that, you can read down here, pick the position, the rotation point. I'll pick that spot. Then after picking the rotation point, I want to rotate this. I want to use this spot as my rotation point. Now to activate that, I'll press my left button on the mouse, then move my mouse like that. I'll be able to turn my model softly and gently like that. Now I want to start placing my braces. I'll right click and exit from that rotation command, and I want to start bracing. I'll go straight to steel. I'll come to steel beam here, click that drop down arrow, then pick the first option. Then come straight to this point here. I'll snap on that spot. I've already marked and I've showed you how to mark your points, and I'll snap right there. I'll snap on the same spot, then go all the way to this point here. I'll snap there, then snap on the same spot, I'll snap right there, then move all the way to this end and snap here, then snap right there, come back to this spot, I'll snap right there, then snap there once again and come here. I'll snap right there and snap on the same spot, and I'll go all the way to this point here and snap right on that spot. I'll right click and click interrupt. Now I want to connect these members by gusset plate. Now I'll just come to this button, applications and component button here. Then this will take me to this applications and component window, and I'll just type the numerical name of that macro, known as 11, and this is the option I want to use this macro to connect all these members. Now I'll click on this member. First of all, I want to disable the assembly. I'll click this button here to disable the assembly first on the part of the columns. I'll click on this, then click on this. I'll press my middle button on the mouse and wait for the connection to be created. There we are, and I'll delete this for the time being. Let me just go back and enable the assembly, and I'll delete that. I want to default on my previous connection. I'll just double click on this. Once I've double clicked on this, when the window for this connection or this macro opens up, I'll save it as my default connection. Here it is, just opened. Now what I'll do, I'll just go straight and click on modify, give it time to load, go straight to apply, and give it an OK here. Now when we come back to this macro and click on it, then we go ahead and start creating connection between this member and this member. After disabling the assembly, I'll come back and click on that, press my left button on the mouse, and that has been created, but that is not the best way. It's so close to this joint, and that's why it's being rejected. I'll click on it once again and click on that, then press my left button on the mouse, and that is created. Now I'll come back here, click on this, that, and this, and see how that is created. A connection has been created right there. I'll go straight to this end and create a connection here, this, that, and this. Click my left button on the mouse, press my middle button on the mouse to create a connection. We'll give it time to load. There it is, and that is the not appropriate way of creating a connection here. Now what we'll do, we'll delete this member. Once we've deleted that, we want to create a similar thing right there. Now what we'll do, we'll come straight here and default on this, double click on that, then we'll go straight away and apply, click modify, apply and accept that. Now we want to place a member here, coming all the way from this spot to that spot. We'll come to beam here, click on beam, then snap on that spot, come all the way, and we'll snap all the way here. Perfect. After doing that, we'll come back to gusset, bolted gusset, and we want to connect this and that, and the connection will be created. As simple as that. Want to connect this one to this one, and press the middle button on the mouse, and we've created a connection right there. And this one also will not work properly. We have to delete this one and create another member. Click on that, then we'll come here and connect this. We'll snap right here and go all the way to this spot right here. We'll snap on that spot, right click and exit by clicking interrupt. Now we'll go back and invoke this bolted gusset macro, and we want to connect this member, and that member, and we'll press middle button on the mouse to activate or to finish up the connection. We want to connect this and that, and just move and do the same thing here. This will not work perfectly. We'll have to rectify that by creating another member to this position right there, and I'll come to interrupt and invoke that connection. For bolted gusset, we want to connect these 3 members. I'll select the 3, then press my middle button on the mouse to activate the connection. I'll click that and that to create a connection right there. Once I'm done with that, I want to now mirror this. And to mirror this is quite simple. I'll come to navigate and I'll turn this around like this so that I'll be able to select the parts that I intend to mirror. And prior to that, we have to first of all place a mirror line, and a mirror line we'll place a mirror line at the bottom end here. We'll just place a member at the bottom end here by coming to steel here and coming to steel beam, and we want to place a member right at the center here. Let me just zoom close. And I'll snap right there. We'll make sure we are snapping accurately on the right position. Then I'll go all the way and snap right there perfectly. Right click and interrupt that. Now I'll go back and select my bracings. I'll click that and turn it round. Right click, and I'll select everything here. I'll press Control and pick unselected members. And what I've realized, I've not reassembled my members. I'll enable the assembly so that even my connection gusset plates will be picked. I've selected that, and now the next thing is just to reorient my XY plane. To do that is simple. Right click and come to interrupt. I'll come to view and come back to work plane tool here, and I'll pick work plane tool option, and I'll zoom close to this member here, and I'll place my XYZ plane right there. Right click and exit. Now I'll go back and check whether my selection is still active. I'll right click, it's active. I'll right click and come to special copy, then I'll come to mirror here. I'll zoom close to this member. I want to use this member center point, or its center, as my mirror line, and it seems not perfectly located, but we'll just try out. We just click on that and click copy and check whether it has been copied properly. Right click, once you've clicked copy, go straight and click OK, and we'll zoom out to check whether it has been mirrored perfectly well. The mirror is perfect, and what I'll do now, I'll just right click and I'll click on empty screen, right click and come to redraw just to refresh and remove any sign of active macro. And also I want to connect these members here and here. I'll press my middle button on the mouse and the connection will be created right there. There we are, and we are still moving till we get to the end of the end of this modeling of this tower. Now I'm going straight to create another bracing right on the top here. I'll right click and come to interrupt and come back to steel, and prior to that I want to just to play some bit of guides. I'll come to edit, come to points here, and I'll snap on this spot and come all the way and snap right here. And I'll do the same thing at the end. I'll do the same thing up here. Let me just zoom close. I'll do the same thing here, and I'll transfer that point to that point. I'll go to points. After clicking edit, I'll come to any point here, and I want to place a point here, but you can also use the snap. We'll come to beam right there, and we'll just snap at the middle point of this member, at the midpoint right there, and I'll zoom out and snap at the bottom end here. Perfect. But that is not the best way I want that member to appear. Double click on that. I want to default on that arrangement. I'll apply, accept, and go ahead with the beam placement or bracing. I'll zoom out and target the midpoint of this member. I'll snap on that spot, zoom out, and I'll snap at the bottom end here. I want it to appear, or to appear like that. Now my next move is to place guiding points here. I'll snap at the edge here, and I'll go all the way to the end just to place my middle point along this member. I'll place my middle point here. I'll locate a middle point between these 2 points, and again I'll create a midpoint between that point and this point. I'll zoom out and locate a point right there, and on the same spot I want to get a midpoint in between that point and this point. There we are. It is in the wrong direction. Let me undo that and do everything, and I'll go back to edit. Edit, then go straight to points, and I want to locate a point from this spot. There's a small confusion, and we have rectified that by redoing this. I want a point between the bottom end here and this point. Right click and click interrupt. Now we have our points here, 1, 2, 3, which has not appeared. Let's just do it once again. Let me just bring it close. I'll snap right there and go all the way to the bottom end. And let me snap at the bottom end here. Perfect. Right click and come to interrupt, apply, and accept. Now we have our points. We have our 3 points here, and also we have create points here. Click right there, and we want to locate a midpoint between this point here and the upper point. We want to locate a midpoint between the 2. And I'll snap right here. And I want another midpoint from that spot to this one, this spot, and I need another one from that point to this point. We are done with point locations. Right click and interrupt, apply and accept that. Now we have a point here and we want to connect this. Now I'll go straight to steel. I'll come to steel beam and pick on the first option, and I want to snap right there and come all the way and snap right here, and I'll snap on the same spot, and I'll target this end right there, and I'll snap on the same spot and go all the way to this spot here, and again on the same spot go all the way to this end, and I'll snap here. We want to brace this tower perfectly. Then I'll go here and snap right here. Then we need a point between this point and this point, and to do that it's quite simple. Come to point and edit, under edit, then we come to at any point. Then I'll locate a midpoint. I'll just snap, I'll create a point here. After creating a point there, I'll come to points once again and click on online points, then I'll snap there, then run all the way to this spot, and I'll locate a midpoint right there. I'll click apply and accept that. Now I'll be able to now join this, place a member here from this end to that end. I'll come to steel, I'll come to steel beam here, and I'll snap right there and go all the way to that spot. Right click and click interrupt just to exit that command. I'll come to bolted gusset and I'll start connecting my braces. I'll click that, and before you do that, make sure you disable the assembly first, so that this member will be selected independently, not as a unit. Click this and that, and press the middle button on the mouse. Come back and click on that and this, and I'll press the middle button on the mouse, and you can see that was detected. I'll click undo. I'll click this is not required, and I'll click undo, undo again, undo again, and do again. I'll come to gusset plate and I'll click on this and that and press the middle button on the mouse, and that will be created. I'll join this perfectly. That has been created. I want to join this, that, and this, and the connection will be created there perfectly. Then I'll proceed with the same thing. A joint has been created. We want to join this and that also, and the connection will be created there perfectly. This and that connection has been created, and I want to connect this one to this one perfectly well. Now I'll right click on empty screen, right click and come to redraw, and I'll be able to refresh that. Now having done that, I want to mirror this. I'll click that and turn that round and select everything here. Perfect. Right click and come to special copy. I'll come to mirror. I'll run all the way to the bottom end here, and I want to mirror this. I want to use this as my mirror line. Now I'll mouse over this member and use this spot as my mirror line. Then I'll go straight to copy, then click OK. Right click and exit by clicking interrupt. I'll zoom out and go all the way on top here and check whether it has been mirrored perfectly. I'll right click, I'll click on empty screen and redraw. That has been mirrored perfectly, and connections are well in place. Now I want to connect this part. I'll click on that as my main member, then click the two as secondary, then press my middle button on the mouse for connection to be created. I'll redraw to remove that sign of active macro. Then I'll proceed that way. I'll come back here. Don't forget to save your work, because you never know what might happen to your power supply. I'll activate the assembly, and I want just to place a guiding point here just to guide me. A fellow asked me why I use so much points. It's optional. If what you're doing, you are capable of using snaps on accurate position, you are well to go, you're good to go. But in my cases, I prefer using points just to provide accurate guiding lines when doing my modeling. Now I'll go straight to A at any position right here. I'll snap on this spot right here and come all the way to this spot. I just need this spot to give me a guiding point or a starting point. I'll come on top here and come all the way to edit. I'll come to points and come to any position, then bring this close and snap on that spot, then come all the way and snap right there. Perfect. Now I want to place a member. I'll come to steel beam and I want to snap right at this midpoint, right on that spot, then zoom out and go all the way to this point, and I'll snap right here. Perfect. Now I'll come back to edit, points, online, and I'll zoom close. I'll zoom close and go all the way to the bottom end here, right here. I'll snap right there. I'll zoom out once again and target this end, and I'll snap right here, right there. I'll apply, click apply and accept, and still my point active is still active. I'll snap on that spot to locate a midpoint between that point and the midpoint here. I think you're getting this logic and this trick to simplify your modeling, or to make you learn faster in modeling anything in Tekla structures. Now I'll snap right here. Perfect. I've created my guiding lines or guiding points along this member. I'll right click. I'll come back to edit here, then coming to points, then I'll come to line, then come straight away to this spot. I'll snap right there and come all the way to the bottom end here and snap right here. Perfect. Apply and accept. I'll come here again and do the same thing. Move all the way up. Perfect. And another midpoint from there to this spot. Right there. Right click and exit by clicking interrupt, apply and accept right there. Now we'll go straight to steel beam, and we'll connect this to this, and on the same spot connect that to this, and on the same spot we'll connect that one to this member, and on the same spot we'll connect that member to this member, and from there to here. Then from there we want to place a member here, which will force us to make or place a snapping point. Click right there. Then I'll zoom close and snap on the middle there. Then go all the way to this end to create a midpoint right there. I'll click apply and accept. Then I'll be able to pick this member. I'll connect this member to that member. I'll come to steel once again and come here, though it is repetitive, and if you follow this several times you'll be very perfect in working with Tekla. You'll be able to work comfortably once you understand how this commands are being manipulated. Now I'll click on that spot and right click and come to interrupt, and I've winded up. I've ended up with that spot. I'll come to gusset, and if I mouse over this two members, you can see everything selected, and I don't want to, when creating connection, this will not work if this assembly is active. So to disable this assembly, just come straight and click this button of select objects in components. I'll be able to now pick on objects in the assembly. Now from here, I'll click on this member, that member, and I'll be able to connect that. And once again, come here, click that, and press your middle button on the mouse, and the connection is created. This as main member, and the three will be connected perfectly. And I want to create a connection here. You select the two, and complete your connection like that. And I'll also come to this end, select this, and press my middle button on the mouse, and I'll continue connecting my braces using gusset plate. I want to connect that to that, and that has been connected. I'll right click and come to redraw to remove any sign of active macro, and I'll highlight everything here while pressing Control and make sure I select everything while assembly is active. The assembly connection, the assembly is taken back, or the assembly has been activated. Perfect. Now what we'll do, just right click, I'll come to special copy, then we'll come to mirror, then we'll move down to pick this member, this member as our mirror line at the bottom end here. Just zoom close, and snap right there, and go all the way to the bottom end and click copy, and we'll click OK after everything has been copied or mirrored. Click interrupt to get an exit route from that command. Click on empty screen, right click, and click redraw. Perfect. We'll do another one, and I think you are now getting things perfectly. Now I want to connect this to this and press my middle button on the mouse. I'll redraw that and do another one by first of all marking my point or datum. I want to pick a working point from, I want to transfer point to this point. Then I'll do the same thing up here. I'll do the same thing up here. I'll do the same thing up here. I'll do the same thing up here, snap there, and transfer that spot right there. Perfect. After doing that, I'll do the same thing. I'll come to beam, there once again, and I'll snap at the midpoint here. Just zoom close and snap at the midpoint right there, and come all the way back to the bottom end here. And we'll snap at that spot. Right click and exit. As usual, we do our marking. Pick this point. We'll pick this point right here, and I'll go all the way up. And snap right here. I'll snap at the midpoint here. Then on the same spot, target the last point here, and I'll bring it close so that we make it accurate. Right there, we have a point. We'll do the same thing, marking our point on this member. I'll apply that and accept, then come to points under view, under edit, and I'll come to online point creation, then snap on this spot, zoom out and go all the way to snap on the other end, snap right here. Then I'll snap once again on the same spot and target the midpoint here just to locate a point. So in case it lands right close to this midpoint, we'll see how it works with that spot. Again, we'll snap right here and snap right here. Perfect. Right click and exit, and we'll come out of that. I'll come to steel here, and then come to beam, pick on beam, and we'll start locating our members. Place a member here and place a member here. Same spot, go all the way up here and snap right there. Same spot, come all the way and snap here. Same spot, snap on that spot and come close and snap right there. Snap on the same spot again and click on this end right there. As usual, we've forgotten how on placing an extra point at the end here. We'll place a point here. Once you've done that, come back to points and pick on line point and snap on the same spot, stretch out or zoom out and go all the way to this end and place a point here. Place a point right there, right click and exit by clicking interrupt and apply and accept that. Then we'll come here and place and connect a member. Come to that spot, come to beam and place a member here. Just snap right there and go straight and connect it up here. Perfect, and we'll start connection. Click that and we will disable first of all the assembly. Once you've disabled the assembly, your connection will work perfectly well. Click on that, this and this, and you'll be able to create a connection right there. Then we'll connect this one, that one, and that. This should be connected, and this one also must be connected. We want to connect this also, those three parts, and this is where I was talking about. This is what I was talking about. This is very close to our joint, and you'll see how it reacts to our joint here. Then I will connect this to that. Perfect. And our joint is here. Click that to that, and connection is created. What we'll do now, just right click and redraw, and that has been completed. We'll bring back the assembly and select everything, press Control, select everything here, select everything right there, right click and come to special copy, then come to mirror, zoom out, then we'll use the bottom end here as our mirror line. Perfect. Let me just zoom it close. Let me just bring it close so that we have a clear look of this at this. Snap right there and go all the way to the bottom end here and snap right there and click copy and click OK. Right click and exit by clicking interrupt. Zoom out, and when we go back where we were before, click on empty screen, right click and click redraw. Now our next one, the design of bracing will be slightly different. Now from here, we'll come to edit once again and get points in place. We'll come to at any position, and we want to transfer this point. We want to transfer this point from that spot to that spot, and again we'll go all the way up here. We'll go all the way up here and transfer this point. We'll transfer this point from that spot and that spot. and locate a midpoint also here. A midpoint must be there, or you can just snap on it. We want to turn this round. We'll come to view, we'll come to navigate and turn this round. Turn that round, and we want to transfer this point to the edge of this member. We'll come to edit once again and do that, and we'll transfer that point, this point here, to this point right there. We'll do a similar thing at the bottom end here. Do a similar thing at the bottom end here. Come all the way, snap right there, and transfer your point right there. Now we'll go back to points again. Points are working well, and snap there. We want to locate a midpoint between these 2 points here. Between these 2 points, there's a point here. I want to get a midpoint between these 2, and this is the point I'm looking for. This is the point, and I want also to get a midpoint between these 2 points, between this point and the point below it. I'll zoom out and go all the way, zoom out and go all the way to this point, and snap right here. Now I have my midpoint in place. I'll right click and exit by clicking interrupt. I'll click on that. Now I'll start placing my bracings. Another way of doing that, I'll click to steel, I'll come to beam, I'll snap on that. Then after doing that, I'll come to this spot, I'll snap on that point. I'll go all the way to this point here, then snap on the same spot. Make sure you snap on the same spot accurately. Then come all the way to the midpoint here. Come all the way to midpoint here. Make sure you snap on the midpoint accurately. Snap right there. Then move up and snap here. Snap there. Snap on the same spot once again, and we'll move up straight to this member. Straight to that member. And we've braced that perfectly. We've braced that, and we'll move up and do the same thing. We'll move up by transferring our points. We'll come here, come to points here, pick any position option, then I'll zoom close and click on that spot and transform my point right there. I'll zoom out and do just the same thing. I'll transfer point right from this end. I want to transfer my point right there. That's okay. I'll use that spot, and again I'll use the other end. Now here I'll come back again and snap here. There's a point below it, so it's going to work easily. And snap on that spot, then target the bottom end here. Target the bottom end here, and I'll snap right here. I've created a point here, a midpoint along that member. Then I'll close that. I'll rotate this. I'll click view to access that button, or you can rotate that using control middle mouse press. I'll come to edit. I'll come to points right here, and I'll come to at any position option for creating a point, and I want to transfer a point from that edge and snap right there. I'll come again once again to points and snap there. Points are really critical in creating guidelines where you intend to locate or place your members or supporting members or braces. I'll snap right there, right click and come to interrupt. I'll apply and accept. Now my next move is to start placing my braces. I'll click on that spot and zoom out, I'll zoom out and come close to this point. Once I've snapped there, I'll target this midpoint and snap on the same spot again and target this midpoint here. Snap on that spot, snap on it once again, and go all the way to this midpoint here. I'll snap right there. I'll snap on the same spot once again and complete it right here. I'll complete it right there. There we are, and we'll go straight and start creating connections. First of all, let's disable the assembly first. Click that, and this to create a connection right there. We want to connect this, and that. Perfect, and the connection has been created. Connection has been created. We want to connect this, that, and that. Connection has been created, and this, and that. Perfect. We want to connect that, this, and this. Connection has been created perfectly well. And we want to connect this, and that. There we see our connection has been created, our gusset plates. And this will now connect to that. And this will connect to this one. And we'll move up here and connect this one to this one, and press our middle button on the mouse and connect this one also, this to that. Press your middle button on the mouse and move around and check any that hasn't been connected. We want also to connect this to this. Also connect this one to this one. Perfect. Right click and interrupt. Then move down and check whether there's any that you've not connected. Let's just redraw that and check and turn this round. Don't forget to save your work. We'll come to view, we'll click on view and come to navigate, and we'll rotate this. We'll rotate this. So the simplest thing we are going to do, we are going to select everything here. Once we've done that, we'll make sure everything that we intend to mirror on the other end has been picked properly. Let me just undo that. First of all, let me select everything there. I'll press Control, zoom out and select everything here. Pick on that, pick on this, and I'll make sure first of all that my assembly is active. Let me turn this in to a position that I'll be able to select perfectly or simply. Let's just select everything right there. Press Control and select everything. Press Control and select all this. Make sure everything that you intend to pick or mirror are in the best, have been selected. Let me just select everything. Select everything right there. Let me select that, zoom out, and I select this. Select that also. Zoom and select that. I'll select everything here. Let me just pick everything perfectly and press Control, select all this. Press Control while selecting all this to make our work a little bit easier. Select on all this. Don't pick on unwanted member or a member that you don't intend to mirror or copy. Now I'll come to navigate and I want to rotate this. I've rotated that to a position that will be okay for me when it comes to now starting to invoke the mirror command. I'll right click and come to interrupt. Now I'll come back here and change the work plane tool. I'll shift it, or I'll place it. I'll give it a global position. I'll take it to default position, right click and click interrupt. Now having done that, I'll right click and come to special copy, and I'll come to mirror here. Then what I'll do, I'll come straight here. I'll come to this spot. Let me just zoom close to the bottom end here. And I'll snap on this spot. Let me just bring this close, come and snap on this spot. I'll make sure I'm snapping in the accurately on the required spot. I'm targeting this point right there. My mirror line starts from that spot, and I'll go all the way to the other end. I'll zoom out, and I'll target a point just along this spot. A point just along this spot right here. And I can snap right here, and I'll click OK and wait for the result. There we are. We can now click OK. Then we zoom out just to check whether what we were copying has been copied perfectly. It has been copied, and what we'll do now, we'll go this direction and invoke another copy command. We'll come right here and come all the way to the bottom end here and pick a point. Let me just click OK. I'll come to navigate here, and I want to rotate this. Right click and exit, and I'll pick a point here as my mirror line. I'll pick a point either from that spot, then go all the way up here. Go all the way up here and snap on that spot. Snap on that spot, right click and interrupt. It hasn't copied. What I'll do, I'll right click and come to special copy once again and click mirror. Then I'll start defining my mirror line at the bottom end here. Define a mirror line at the bottom end here and snap right here. Then I'll go all the way up, slightly up. Let me just zoom out and snap right here. And to snap on accurate position right here. Perfect. And click copy. We'll go straight and click OK. Once we've clicked OK, we'll right click and come to interrupt. Right click once again and redraw this. And you can see what we're having now. Right click and redraw. If I switch back to isometric view, this is what we have. Let's just switch back to my previous view, and you can see this. Let me just delete this now. I'll delete that. And this is what we're having. And thanks a lot for watching this video or watching this channel. Let's meet on the next presentation, where we'll now be finalizing up with our tower.